All right, so today we're going to talk about human populations. So far we've talked about population in general, but now we're going to shift gears and we're only going to focus on our human race. So the study of the human population size, the density, the distribution, the movement, and the birth and death rates all fits into a category called demography. And think about, you've probably heard like demographics before. Okay, so that stems from demography. And so the population of humans has been relatively stable until recently. So it took all the way up until 1804 for there to become 1 billion people on our planet. And then from 1804 to 1999, we went from 1 billion to 6 billion. And then from 1999 to through 2012, we added an entire billion people. And then now we're thinking that between 2012 and 2050, we'll be at 9 billion people. So what's caused our population to grow so much? And the reason why our human population has been able to become so large is because we've had a lot of technological advances, and those technological advances have allowed humans to alter the carrying capacity. So we've been able to really improve agriculture and the domestication of animals. We have technological advances in medicine, and even think like cleanliness, and then we've also had an improvement in shelter. So all of those have helped humans live longer. It's allowed us to allow more people on our planet, right? We've been able to provide more food. We've been able to provide more medicine or just cleanliness, sanitation. We've been able to provide shelter for more people. So by doing all those things, we've allowed our carrying capacity to increase as well. So when we look at the human growth rate, we see that our peak growth rate is 2.2%, and that was in 1963. And so since then, you can see that our growth rate is actually dropping. So in 2009, it was 1.2%. I believe even since then, it's dropped a little bit more, where it's just a little bit greater than 1% right now. And so now we're going to look at just trends in human population growth. And we're going to look at something called a demographic transition. So this is when you have a change in the population from high birth and high death rates to low birth and low death rates. So population growth rate, we can just call it PGR for short. The equation to calculate it is just your birth rate minus your death rate plus your migration rate, all divided by 10. Developing countries tend to add more people to the world as compared to industrially developed countries. So what that means is countries that are still being developed, they're adding more people than an already developed country like us in the United States. So some trends in human population growth, we could look for something called zero population growth. Okay, so we're not growing, but we're not shrinking. So this occurs when birth plus immigration equals death plus emigration. Okay. We think this is going to happen sometime between 2020 and 2029. So sometime this decade where the number of people on this planet just stays the same. So it's not going up or it's not going down. And at this time, all age structures should be balanced, and we have 3 different age structures. We have the pre-reproductive age, the reproductive age, and then the post-reproductive age, and that's when they're all going to be equal. Okay, so the age structure, again, you have the number of males and females in each of those 3 groups, so pre, post, and at the reproductive stages. Pre-reproductive stage is considered 20 or younger, even though people can reproduce before they hit 20. Post-reproductive stage is 44 or older. Again, people can still reproduce past 44. but those are just like the lines that were drawn. And then in between 20 and 44 is considered the reproductive stage. And then finally in class, we've been talking about carrying capacities, and humans also have a carrying capacity. And there's a lot of worry that as our population increases, we're going to get closer to that carrying capacity. And so that means there's going to be an increase in crowding, and there's going to be an increase in a lot of things, right? An increase in diseases, an increase in starvation, maybe an increase in just space and habitats. And so a lot of people worry about what kind of quality of life do you have as our human population nears the carrying capacity.